still a place in the final where they will be having a continental playoff. Fahad, wow, what a pleasure. Good evening. Welcome to the Pressbox.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
How have you been?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah. It's interesting how he looks so calm after all these grueling training sessions. Did you have training today?
Yeah, we do have training from Monday till Saturday.
Monday till Saturday. How is the training going, man?
Intense, but very okay.
Yeah. You're loving it because obviously this is a new stage for you, my friend. You are making a debut when that time finally comes, and I'm quite sure it's around the corner, for the national side. Is this stuff of dreams for a young rugby player?
Yeah, I mean, me being part of the national team is a dream come true for me. Way back when I started playing rugby in 2019, by then the late Coach Sogi was our coach. I used to look at the people being called up for the national team, and I'm like, one day I have to be there. Yeah. So it's a dream come true for me.
Yeah, but what does this feel? Because you see, as a pro, you come here and say it's a dream come true for me. But what goes on when you are first called to the national team? I mean, who calls you? And after you've put that phone off, who do you call next?
I don't know about what calls you, who calls you on the national team is your performance during the league. Yeah, how do you handle your play at the pitch? What is your discipline on the pitch? How do you play? How do you handle the ball on the pitch? So that's all that matters when. That's all that's looked at, and it's the only ticket for you to the national team. Yeah,
but as well, are you, because you're a tough guy, but are you a softie at heart who, after receiving that call, says, I need to call some 2-3 friends, I need to call a parent, I need to call an uncle and tell them how proud they should be of me for making it to the national team? Or nah?
Like, runs us through the process of, you got a phone call from who? How's that going? How did that go for you?
Well, actually, me personally, I have like two fathers. Our director of rugby, he's like a father to me. So Tim Grover. He's the only person who knows my rugby journey, and he's the only person who's supporting me during this journey. For my actual dad, he knows nothing about rugby.
Yeah.
So he's literally the person I called.
But cares. I mean, when you say I've gone to the national team, even though you know nothing about rugby, you'll be like, my boy, you're doing well. That's what he must have said.
Yeah. Friends, when you are not there, tells his friends, does your son play on the national team?
Yeah.
Well, I believe he supports me, and yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff. Just before I bring these two guys in, I mean, Fahad, for the kind of campaign you've had with the Ginger Hippos, to now be playing at Africa's biggest rugby tournament, you know levels will jump. I wonder if you're prepared for that, or even if you know what that level looks like.
Well, to me, rugby is rugby. And the reason as to why maybe I played some good rugby for the last season, I learned something. You hit or you hit. Yeah. So once you get to know that, you have to protect yourself. You have to toughen up and do something at the pitch. So, yeah, I find the levels change, but we still pass the ball behind. We still rack the same ball. We're still going for the same scrummaging and stuff. So you just have to toughen up and deliver at the pitch.
Vianney, I love the mentality, to be honest with you. At the end of the game, it's a rugby game. They're going to pass that ball backwards. They are going to hit each other. Tries will be made. But minutes to kick off, if he is in the starting 15, he's a human being. Yeah. He's going to have butterflies and a bit of nerves.
Yeah, of course. I would expect.
I poisoned my butterflies.
Oh.
I love it. I've never had this before. This is a new one. I'll use this.
Poisoned the butterflies.
He poisoned the butterflies. Yeah. They don't exist anymore.
But Vianney, it's a huge stage.
Of course it is. You see, why I think it's such a huge step, especially for a player like Fahad Maido. The national team has predominantly been a preserve of mostly heathen scopes. And also the Pirates, you could say, they would have a few players like Chinene or Marvin Odong. But when you look at the Ginger Hippos themselves, that they've been knocking on the door for the last couple of years, and until the 7th team that won, and we saw, say, a player like Timothy Mugisha, we saw Dennis Etwao being called to the national team, Aziz Bagala now also being called to the national team. It was that's, I think, the breakthrough moment for them. Yeah. And since
the
that
one that
time,
brought them to the front page.
Yeah, exactly. And since that time, there's been notice of what Ginger Hippos have been doing. Now, last year, there was a call-up again for one of his teammates, and that's Yasin Waiswa. He was called to the national team. He didn't really get a breakthrough, but he was in the circles of the national team. And look what happens thereafter, even after so many people were wondering whether he would be able to maintain his place, especially after the way the national team had struggled, especially in the Elgon Cup. And then the league comes about, and then people are talking about the best scrummage being the one that is of Ginger Hippos, that is led by Fahad Maido, who is a captain, James Okere, Nathan, who is a very, very solid guy there as well, and Paul Siringiti. And it clearly, they were the best scrummage. And for him to be part of the national team, it shouldn't come as a surprise, especially when you consider, remember what happened to us last year at Kings Park against the Kenyans, how the scrummage really struggled. Struggled. I think it was always inevitable that there would be a lot of focus on a guy like Fahad Maido and the way the Ginger Hippos played.
Fahad, what's the conversation in camp like? Obviously, we finished 5th last year. Disappointing game, I keep repeating, against Zimbabwe. Could have done better. Who knows where that could have taken us? So are the coaches having those discussions with you? I mean, you're going to have the biggest fan base at Namboole. Does that add extra pressure to make sure we do much better this time?
Trust me, we are being reminded each and every day, each and every single minute, how we performed last year. So there is a lot of pressure from the coaches, and there is a lot of pressure from my fellow teammates that we really need to step up and do something this time around.
And it's been made worse. Now it's a World Cup qualifier. That adds more fire to what is going on.
Yeah.
We talk about the cricket cranes just came back from the World Cup. Every one of these teams remembers the first. For netball, they've now been there a number of times.
All of us remember the first, all of us. It's a normal thing.
The first for rugby would be to go to the World Cup 15s. We've had great teams in the past. They didn't make it there. We had the golden generation led by Adrian Bukenya, Alan Musoke, and those guys, Fred Mudora and his brother. They were on the verge. Then the Kere Kere thing happens. They dock points from Cobbs, and we crumble at the last hurdle. How does it feel now? Does it bring a different sense of responsibility to know that we are not just coming here, because now you're coming to tick different boxes. You're not just coming here to improve the disaster of last year. You're coming to give home fans a level of pride, a belonging. But there are guys like you who have something to prove, to remind people, I've earned my spot. I'm here because for the last 5-6 years, I've dug my heels in. I've promoted my team to a point where hippos are a daily conversation. They are a daily presence in the conversation of rugby in the country. So there are guys like you in the squad who want to write your name on the board as well. How many more of you guys are in there in the team that say we now have an added level of responsibility because there's a chance to go to the World Cup? How much more does the chance to go to the World Cup for the first time improve what you intend to put out there?
I wouldn't point out numbers, but each and every player on the team right now is really up there, and compared to the previous times, trust me, this time around, everyone is serious on it. Everyone has put in. My first national team call-up, we could get on training. Some players are not there. Some some are at work. Training starts at 8. People are coming in at 8:45, 8:30. But today, or this time round, training starts at 6:30, but
morning.
in the morning, but by 5 everyone is there.
Wow.
Everyone is at the pitch. So there is the level of seriousness this time round it's not even promising, but it's up there.
That is huge. But Fahad, just before I bring Vianney in, as a sportsman, you obviously have dreams. You at some point wanted to simply find a rugby club. Now you're there. You're very close to winning the championship with Ginger. At some point, you obviously dream of putting on national colors. Here you are. You're in the training camp now. So are we at a level now where you realize if you do well between the 8th to the 19th of July, a big club could pick you up from South Africa, from somewhere in Europe? Is that something in your mind to say, listen, I'm a Ginger Hippos, I love my club, but this could be my best opportunity to go international?